Now Pedersen to blast all that hit. Provorov diving save. Hart as he flashes across. Briere sets up Carl. Side of the net. Deflected. Score! Briere moving in. Stops. Cuts to the middle. Still has it. Shot! Score! Here's Hughes giving it across. Oh! Save! Save by Maher! He's an angle. Short-handed mid. He scores! Up top, cruising is Provorov. He scores! Ivan Provorov!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Flyered Up podcast. I'm your host, Amedeo Grassia, along with my partner, Chris Maher. Tyson was not able to join us today. He will for a future episode. And we are always live streaming here on the Painted Lines, TTP Sports, and Flyers Fan Mania 93. For people who weren't able to tune into the live stream today, it will always be on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. So, everyone, first day of Flyers hockey has passed us. They defeat the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-3. Flyers are 1-0 on the season, and a lot of storylines that come out of this game. Joel Farabee, 4 points. Oscar Lindblom, Nolan Patrick scoring their first regular season games back with the team. There's just so many things to talk about. The power play was almost perfect, for God's sakes. 2-3. So it was just a fun day yesterday. We're going to be talking about the game. There's like 10 other games that are going on currently. It's so overwhelming right now. But like, Chris, just to get your first thoughts on yesterday's game, because it was a beauty.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say what's up over there. How you doing?
Doing good.
It's been a while. We've been by ourselves, I guess. But kind of just going off the top of my head. I thought it was a good game yesterday. It was a Flyers Penguins game. It was kind of sloppy for the most part. I think it wasn't each team's best game. I think the Flyers overall showed that showed the depth they have. They got goals from all four lines. I thought the defense was good. Carter Hart, I thought, had a really good game besides that epic boo-boo he had on the Crosby goal there, the second goal of the game. But overall, I thought it was a good game. The Flyers, they scored 6 goals, 25 shots. As you talked about the power play, it was pretty effective. So, it looks like now that Gustafsson signing is paying off so far. Patrick and Lindblom get goals. I mean, what more can you ask for than the 2 points in the first game?
Exactly. You can't ask for, I guess, anything more perfect from a first game. 6 goals. It's just everything I felt like went well in that game. And just like, It's funny when I think about our past podcast on Tuesday when we had Hunter on the show, like, remember the question that we asked him, like what player do you expect for this season to take that next step or to improve this season? And he stated Joel Farabee. Yeah. Hunter had it spot on. Joel Farabee had 4 points.
Yeah, he did.
Home opener.
And it's funny too, because like now that I think about it, like there were so many guys that were just like in my head, like at that kind of like moment, think of myself like, JVR, Patrick, you said Farabee. I was like, that's a great answer. Cause I was thinking some more guys younger in the lineup, things like that. But yeah, that was a great answer. It was spot on. And again, I thought Farabee played great. It seemed like for the, obviously the offense was there, but I think just his overall game was really good. I mean, that line clicks, man. G with Hayes and Farabee, oh my God, they're playing unreal. And it's funny because, it makes me think how long they'll keep it together, because we know how AV is with the lines. And, that right now is like their Couturier line from last year, TK Coots Lindblom from last year. That's the G Hayes Farabee line right now. So like, it makes me think how long they kind of keep it together. But Amedeo, I want to ask you this. What were your thoughts on Braun on the first power play unit there with or not power play unit, the first D pair unit with Provorov?
I thought he did an okay job. He wasn't like, it's like his job is to basically not have his name said the entire night. That's his style of defense. If your name is not said, you're doing your job the entire night. I felt like he wasn't on the ice, I guess, as much more than like say Myers and Sam. I definitely noticed those two a lot more in the game rather than Braun. Yeah. I think Provorov definitely, he's going to chug a lot of minutes throughout a game. But Braun, he did an okay job. Gustafsson, like I said, on the power play had those 2 points. And he did make one of those like that boo-boo turnovers that led to the Tanev goal in the third period.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think overall, all 3 goals could have been avoided. It was the missed guy in front, obviously Carter Carter Hart had way too much time to think there, behind the net, and the kind of just sent a meatball up the zone, and it was just flagged down by Crosby. And then you have that third goal where nobody picks up Tanev, and I'm like, oh my god, and it's tied game. But overall, again, it is the first game. I'm not 100% worried about it because, as I said, I mean, the only really game action we saw was the scrimmage. So for the most part, I thought the Flyers actually played really good. And as I said, I think it was good they came out with a win. And obviously the offense clicked there in the third period too.
Yep. And it just like we said for like a couple podcasts ago, basically on many podcasts, there's going to be a lot of rust in these first few games. Like no preseason, one scrimmage, and you're playing like these minor scrimmages throughout training camp. That's not enough.
It's all against your team too. So it's obviously that that edge and that style of play is not comparable when you're playing your teammates, because you kind of got to take it down a notch at a scrimmage. So I agree. I think it's a couple games until we get to some real action like that.
Yeah, and to still come on top 6-3, that's a very impressive feat. And this season, like I said, this season's going to be very weird because we just played the Penguins last night. We're going to be playing them again on Friday. So it's just like what really is there to preview? We're playing the same exact team. So basically, wouldn't the summary just be do the same exact thing? But like, there's definitely some things that you can work on. There was a little bit of rust in the 5-on-5 play that definitely is expected. But there's some things that they could shake up. So there's definitely things that you have to work on right there. And there's some comments right here from the comment section. We got Sherry saying, hello, let's go Flyers. Definitely love that. Sean saying that Carter Hart has Brodeur like stick handling. Oh, God. I know that's sarcasm right there.
Yeah.
That one boo-boo behind the net was it was like, when I think about that, it's yes, Carter Hart definitely had way too much time behind the net to think about something, but it's just also Sidney Crosby doing Crosby things.
Exactly. Like nobody else in the league would have flagged that down. Nobody.
Like he literally knocks it down and then one hands it backwards into the net. It's just like, what? That's only a thing Sidney Crosby can do.
Yeah, it's so unlucky, but it's just like, oh my God, at the same time.
Yeah, just basically like that. Then we also have Renee that's joining us. Thank you for always joining us, Renee. Ed talking about great game, kicking the shit out of the Flyers always makes kicking the shit out of the Penguins always makes it tonight. That's great. And then Sherry saying Crosby sucks. As a Flyers fan, yes, I would love to say that. As a hockey fan in general, I don't think Crosby sucks. Then we got Sean saying, once again, decent game, but Pierre Maguire's name dropping was in mid-season form. Yeah, Pierre Maguire is Pierre Maguire.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if he caught last night when he said that Kuch was a Selke finalist this year.
Oh, God.
He said he was a finalist, not a winner. And then Albert was like, Couturier won the Selke this year. He's like, oh, my bad.
Oh my goodness.
Like if I could go back and go back to the game and find the clip, I was crying laughing. It was so funny because it was just like his voice got like so high pitched and he kind of sounded like Mickey Mouse when he was talking. It was so funny.
Oh God, it's Pierre always has his moments, and it's just like sometimes I just want to walk down there, just walk up to Pierre Maguire and just slap him in the face, just tell him to shut up for a little bit.
Just smack the bald head he's got. He's just got the peanut head.
Definitely. And just other storylines from this game. You get JVR scoring the first goal on the power play right there, actually like tipping a puck in front of the net on the power play, and just like that storyline in general, the power play actually going 2 for 3.
Yeah,
the main storyline throughout the entire playoffs, the Flyers power play couldn't get a damn thing going, and they score on the first 2 power plays of the season. We're like, what the hell is this Flyers team right here? Scoring on the power play? I never doubted this team.
If you were to tell me that the first 2 goals they scored of the season were power play goals, I would have called you crazy. I was like, after the whole thing with the playoffs and the power play and how everybody's like, oh, the power play is not going to be good this year, and they scored 2 in the first period, let alone, it's like, oh my God.
And the way Farabee set up Gustafsson on that first goal for the one-timer on JVR's goal, just behind hitting the boards.
Play. Yeah, it was a great play. And it's weird because I'm not like 100% with a left-hander on that side, but if Farabee can keep doing that, then by all means keep him there because it's obviously working. And, I feel like for the most part, he made a lot of good plays like that where he just read the play really well. And I like Gus because he was just quick shot. Like he did it a couple times and, 2 of them went in. And it's funny because I know they did change the goal, which I know the score does have Patrick Lindblom scoring return for the title. They changed that last night, which I which is weird because I was like, I kind of had a thought in my head when that goal went in. I was like, could that get changed back to Lindblom or what? But I thought it was hilarious that he actually went to kick that. Like he actually saw him like kick it. If you go and watch the replay.
Yeah, I remember that replay. I was like, I saw Lindblom just like battling, like doing his thing in front of the net. Then he just tries to kick at the puck. I'm like, what are you doing there, buddy?
Yeah, he was just like trying to kick it. I was like, and it's so funny when you go back and watch it because I think it was McCann in front, and you know how Lindblom was like fell into the net. Well, he like McCann literally goes and he's like pointing at him like, why is he in front of the net? And if you watch the play, I don't know who it is. It was number 14 on the Penguins. Goes behind Lindblom and just gives him the biggest cross check. And he falls right in the jar. And then two Penguins come over. I think it was CC. And then, as I said, it was McCann. And they're both pointing at the ref like this. I'm like, your own guy cross-checked him right into the goalie. I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's funny, too, because speaking of Cody Ceci, I was watching Steve Dangle's Maple Leafs recap earlier this afternoon. And, like, you know how Cody Ceci was on the Maple Leafs last year, and he made that one statement that Leafs fans looking at Cody Ceci on the Penguins going, ha! Oh, God, that was... I guess Maple Leafs fans have something to laugh at right there at the Penguins, but it's just like, it's funny too. Like when Konechny was talking about that in the post-game press conference, how that goal should have been changed to Lindblom. It's just like, that's nice. That kind of shed a tear in my eye a little bit right there, even though I'm being very overly dramatic. But that's definitely like just having Patrick and Lindblom back in the locker room. That's just like
love all the people that were like, oh, he's not going to play this year. He's a bust. He's this, he's that. And he scores. In 2 of the games he plays, scored in the scrimmage, and then he scores in the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Like, it's just great. It's awesome.
Yeah, Patrick being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, goes off his pants and it goes into the net. That's confidence, right? That gives you some confidence right there. And like when you were talking about the Hayes, Drew, Farabee line, that the JVR, Voracek, Patrick line, they look pretty good out there too. And they have some type of chemistry out there.
Yeah, they do. It makes me think if they'll actually keep it together, because at times I feel like they kind of skate really close to each other at times, and they did in the first, but they settled down as the game went on. It seemed like there was a lot of reaching from that line, and that's just not from that line. Specifically, there was a lot of reaching from the Flyers too. There was again like they scored 6 goals, but like they had a lot of turnovers. They were puck watching. I just did not understand what Albie Kubel was doing at one point. Like he just had the puck and then turned around. 2 Penguins are on him. They generate more zone time. I'm like, oh my God. And this is at the point in the second period when you're dying to get a change. Your defense has been out there for a couple minutes and like you're doing this. And now they're stuck out there again when the Penguins are dominating the whole period. But overall, like it makes me think if they will keep that line together because, it seems like that they have chemistry, which might take them a little bit. I still think Patrick's obviously getting in the groove too. But honestly, I wouldn't mind it if they kept it like together for the second unit power play because that's great.
They were just dishing the puck out literally every time when they were out there on that power play.
They had a lot of good zone entries.
Yeah.
They were getting in the zone quick.
The Flyers can actually enter the zone on the power play. What?
I know it's weird because like it's so different from the playoffs, and like I feel like we literally saw like two or three different teams last year. Like just with the way the Flyers played, like early in the season through like the rest of the year and then like the 9-game winning streak and in the playoffs. It's just like so weird because like they had a mix of like all of that in last night's game. They played really good. And I found it interesting too that most of the times when the Flyers would come out and they generated chances, they really, stepped up the pace and they ended up drawing, I believe, 2 penalties in the first period. They were both after the TV timeout. There was a TV timeout at 8:40 in the first. I believe that was the second TV timeout of the game, and then like maybe 5.5, maybe 6 minutes left in the second. And that's when they owned pretty much all the last few minutes of the second, really majority of the third with the 3 goals. And they had the power play early to start that period. So I feel like for the most part they had a really good third. Second wasn't great, probably their worst period of the game. But the first they kind of settled into it. And then, the goal and then the power play right after kind of took away a lot of the momentum. But I think for the most part, it was a pretty even game. Again, it's still the first game of the season, so I'm not going to sit here and analyze it like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, like, I think for the most part, though, I thought it was a solid game, and I thought they were, able to keep it up there in the third, too.
Yeah, just like you said, the first period, the Flyers, I would say they pushed the pace more in that beginning of the third, but then the Penguins score. But I would say the entire game, the Flyers knew how to respond. The Penguins score first, and then the Flyers score twice on the power play. The Penguins tied in the second period, then Farabee scores late in the second period. Penguins tied again once in the third, and then the Flyers score 3 unanswered. That's basically just answering everything right there. So the Flyers did a really great job. And I'm going to bring up some other questions right here, or just comments in general. We got Sean asking a question. Do you guys hate the advertising on the helmets as much as I do? I'll say one thing. They are gigantic.
They are.
I don't mind them, but they are very gigantic.
And it's like, it's weird because some teams, they look real small. Like I was watching the Blues Avs highlights, and it's because the Blues have the Enterprise logo and it's green. I'm like, this looks so weird on their helmet because they're like the blue and the yellow and the white jersey with the green logo. It looks so weird, and I'm not used to it yet. Go ahead.
Continue what you were saying because I want to bring up a question about that game.
Let me guess. Is it the Avs uniforms?
Yes. What are your thoughts on that?
I was just going to ask you the same thing. They actually look a lot better on the ice. I'll say that. I think they look good because the way that the jersey looks, like how the blue is out here and it kind of comes down into it, and then you have the helmet too. But the pants, they look like it's obviously different in NHL. But when I saw it in NHL when I played, I was like, "What is this?" I thought it was a glitch, and I remember we talked about it before. I was like, "This looks so weird." And then they used it last night, and I honestly thought it looked pretty good.
I'm just like, when I was looking at it, I'm just like, my eyes just like don't know what they're looking at this point. But then when I like look at it majority through the highlights, I'm like, okay, I think the more the season goes along, maybe I'll get okay with it. I like the helmet color more than I like the pants color. I feel like the helmet just overall looks pretty. If they had black pants, it just stuck with that and had the blue helmet, maybe that would look a lot better. But it's probably a thing that needs to grow on you before everything.
Yeah. I was trying to think, like, they had black pants last year, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And then we have
it looks weird. I think it looks kind of weird though with their colors just having black. There's no black in like anything else. But
yeah, we have another question right here from Luis saying, "Is the rumor about the Boston GM true?" I am not entirely sure what that means. Chris, do you know if there's any rumors about the Boston Bruins GM?
Negative. I honestly really don't know, to be honest.
So
I can look it up. I'm gonna look it up on Twitter now. Maybe.
Definitely try to look that up. Or Luis, if you want to put the rumor in the comment section, definitely do that. We got another comment right here from Kevin saying, "Amedeo, what is your YouTube channel called?" Mine is called TTP Sports, but also go give Chris's a follow, called Flyers Fan Mania 93. Definitely go follow both of our YouTube channels. Sean brings up a nice point right here. The fourth line was solid as well. Great awareness by Lawton on the raffle tally. Definitely. Yeah, that play by Lawton right there on the Albio Kubel gets the puck taken away from him. Lawton just kept battling. And then you just find Raffle trailing in the play. And it was funny too. Jari looked very confused. It looked like he didn't know where the puck was going. Yeah. And I think that helped a little bit.
Yeah. I love the little like look back from Lawton too. Like right when he turns around. Great play. I thought Lawton was fantastic last night. I actually thought that line played good. But it seemed like a little bit in the first, they were a little like all over the ice at times, especially in the defensive zone. But as I said, everybody kind of eased into the game. So I think overall, I thought all four lines were good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you right there. That battle right there. They were just like a muck and grind line, and they can chip the puck into the net when they're able to. So that's a nice line right there. We got another comment right here from Ed saying the Flyers played extremely poor in the second period. The last 10 minutes of the game, I thought they played extremely well. If they can play like that throughout the season, we'll see the captain hoist the chalice. I like that comment right there. I definitely do.
Yeah, it's funny because there's many times that my dad has said that, Giroux doesn't show leadership or that they shouldn't re-sign him. And he's going to say that he's never said that, but he has. It's just, I'm so – every time he makes a good play or something or Giroux scores, he'll be like, my captain. And it's so aggravating because I know he's kind of just like messing with me, kind of busting my balls a little bit. So, like, it's funny. And I found it hilarious that Patrick scored. Because the main thing it was like around Christmas break, and we were outside having a bonfire with a couple friends and stuff, and he's like he's not playing this year. I'm like, all right, go ahead, score his first game, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, just this guy's luck. I don't know, man.
Did you walk up to him and slap him in the face after for saying that?
No, because when Patrick scored, I was like, oh, he's not playing. He's not playing. Like, I was trying to messing with him. And I thought, like, it's just two things are, oh, Drew doesn't do this, and then Patrick's not playing, and like, they win, and Drew has a good game, Patrick scores. It's just.
Then we also got another question from Christy right here. She says, I'm wondering, do you guys have the same Flyers comforter on your respective beds? Wait, do we?
We do.
We do. Okay. See, that's why we make such great partners for our podcast. We have the same comforter on our bed. So if you people can see here on the live stream, yeah, it's just a Flyers comforter. Really nice and comfy right there.
It is indeed.
So we got another thing from Sean right here saying the X factor is COVID. Pray it stays away from us in the Flyers dressing room. Yeah, that's definitely something that's very scary right now. With one of the reports from the NHL yesterday saying that 17 players from Dallas tested positive. Oof, oof.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what? I was like, because I thought it was 6 and the 2 from the team or the 2 staff members. And I'm like, oh my God, like 17 players. That's insane.
Yeah, it's just like when I think about that, I'm like, oh my goodness, like the Sixers are going through this right now. They're starting to gradually get their players back. And I'm like, Dallas, oh my goodness, 17 players.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I know the NFL had their problems. I know the NBA is having their problems, but 17 players, that's majority of your roster. There's 23 players on a roster for this season, and you have 17 just tested positive. I'm like, oh my goodness, right there. And we had another question right here from Zach. Do you think Patrick still has the upside of a first-line center, or are we looking at more of the second center at best? I think Patrick can definitely grow into that. Right now, where he's at, I think he can develop into a second-line center. I think his high ceiling could be first-line center, but right now, I think he can develop more into a second-line center where he's at the stage of his career right now. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, I think he's going to turn into a first-line center. I think that's what he was drafted as to be, and I think he obviously has the skill to be like that. The problem is that the Flyers are loaded at center depth. They have 5 guys, maybe even 6 if you include Raffle, that can play. Obviously, Coots, G, Hayes, Patrick, Lawton, Raffle. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can play center. Guys have kind of molded in the center. That's why I kind of say Raffle, because he's been molded kind of into a center. I think for the most part, I personally think Patrick at some point will play first-line center. I don't know if it'll be this year. I think you have to see how he progresses and obviously how the team progresses too. I think I wouldn't be surprised at some point if he plays second-line center this year. But I think if the way that Hayes is playing right now and the way that line is going, it's going to be tough to kind of break that apart. So I think for the most part, I honestly do think he has the upside to be a first-line center someday. But I think we'll kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah,
honestly,
definitely.
One of my thoughts kind of going early into the season was like if they can use Patrick, they honestly could use him on the first line. And I know it sounds nuts, but like, I mean, he has the skill and everything. So again, it's not like they have set lines like that. You know what I mean? Like the Flyers don't have a first line, like at times they have all four of their lines, play like a first line. So I think for the most part, you're going to see a lot of changes. These lines are not going to be set. I mean, Christ, Braun is playing with Provorov right now. Like that, who would have thought? I mean, it's going to be Myers. We know it's going to be Myers. And I think for the most part, they're going to kind of let it ease into it a little bit. But I think for now, I think it makes sense. And yeah, I do think Patrick does have the upside of a first-line center.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you right there. We have Ed commented right back and saying, I told you Patrick would score. Oh, God. It's just that, just talking about Patrick right there, just like, how many days has it been like since he's played an NHL game? I think it's been like over 600 or something like that.
629 or 49, something like that. Yeah, his latest goal was March 9th, 2019.
Yeah, just think about that, to just like over 600 days since your last NHL game. And then you miss an entire season, and then add on the COVID stoppage to that, plus the bubble games and the playoffs, and then the added like just pause going into this season. That's like so many days missed. It just like, and he scores in his first game back. That's just like, oh my goodness.
Him and Lindblom too.
Yeah, him and Lindblom. It's just like when you see Lindblom score, like even though like at first it wasn't his goal, it was Konechny's goal, but then like when you hear about it, it's just like, okay, this is just a perfect night. Patrick scores in his first game back, and then you also see Lindblom get the goal credited eventually after the game. It's just like this is like the best thing that could possibly happen.
It's like something that was written in Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's insane.
One of those Disney hockey movies or something like that.
It's Mighty Ducks. Somebody gets a penalty shot with like 1 second left.
Then we have a comment right here from Sean asking me, his sources say that I might add some late person to my fantasy roster with Nate Thompson. Sneaky good move. I am not adding Nate Thompson to my fantasy roster, Sean. Oh my goodness. Good old Nate Thompson. Is Nate Thompson just going to be one of those people that's like brought up like in those traditional like bottom six Flyers, like with the Chris Vandeveldes, the
like Yuri Laterra,
Roman Lubimov
today? Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's a classic.
Something.
That is an absolute classic. But just like going over like from other players of this game, Claude Giroux picks up an assist on the Kevin Hayes goal, and just like I can't like stop thinking about like Joel Farabee's 4-point game. Yeah. And just like when you think about it, Joel Farabee leads the NHL in points right now, which is a funny thing. You could say that after the first night.
Yeah, it's weird because I kind of had Farabee getting around like 40, 45 points this year. He's on pace for 256 points.
I like that. I like that.
Insane. Yeah, Wayne Gretzky's just shaking in his boots right now with his 215 because he sees Joel Farabee getting 4 in game 1.
What does he get? 4 points a night now? He's gonna get 4 points against the Penguins on Friday. Just 4 goals, and then he's gonna get 4 points the rest of the freaking season. Well, every game the rest of the damn season. That'll be funny if that actually happens.
That would be amazing. Could you imagine? I saw that tweet last night. It was like Wayne Gretzky shaking in his boots. I started dying laughing. It was so funny.
Oh my goodness. It's just like and like I said, it's like when you're just thinking about it right now, like just like I said this earlier in the podcast, but just like thinking about the rest of the season, you're playing so many teams back to back. It's just like yesterday we played the Penguins. Tomorrow we play the Penguins. Then Monday and Tuesday next week we play Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
It's just like I said, it's just like it's like weird, like when you're on the podcast right now thinking like, how are we going to preview this? We literally played this team yesterday.
That's the thing. I think for the most part tomorrow they're going to want to have to clean some things up. Obviously the turnovers, the oh god, that first goal is so aggravating still because it's just like Braun, Prorov, and Voracek missed the guy behind him. I'm like, guys, look the other way. Like, come on. And it's just like, nobody's in front. I'm like, oh my god. And he's right there to just roof it. And obviously it's a simple mistake. And it's it makes me think too because it reminded me a lot of the exhibition game where like the Flyers kind of owned the first few minutes and then the Penguins scored. And then they kind of like eased into the game. So, and when I'm talking exhibition game, I mean back when the playoffs were on, that exhibition game when Lawton scored in overtime. But again, like I think for tomorrow they kind of got to do the same stuff. I mean, I thought they were pretty disciplined. I thought the penalty kill was great. Really aggressive, moved the puck well. Penguins had no time to set up. I don't even think they made at least 5 passes without somebody getting there and trying to smack it away from the blue line or at least got it out. They did a great job of that. Was their second goal a power play goal? Or did the power play end?
Yeah, I think the power play was like in the final seconds, or it like just ended as Hart like turned it over to Crosby. I think it was something around there or something like that.
Yeah, because if not, they would have had a perfect penalty kill. I'm not like 100% sure, to be honest, because it kind of seemed like that for the most part. I'm attempting to find it now. The penalties. I can't find it right now, and I'm not going to sit there and look at it for 10 minutes. But yeah, the penalty kill. Yeah, the Penguins were 1 for 3 on the power play, so that was a power play goal, and that was the only one that was. The other 2 were 5 on 5. I know that. So yeah, so that really probably wouldn't have happened if somebody was there, and it's such a weird play too because like I feel like Hart, as I said, like Hart had so much time, and I'm like, and no defenseman was really in a good spot to get the puck. But I was really hoping that's the one thing I think that Hart has a problem with is the puck handling. That's the really only thing.
Yeah, that is really the only flaw in his game, I would say.
Yeah, and it seemed like after that the goal happened, he didn't come out of the net once.
Yeah,
and he's good with that too, because like Mason was different. Like if Mason gave up a goal because of that, this guy would still go out and behind the net and play. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stay in your net.
And the one thing that I do like out of Hart's game, like just like in the so many years that he's been up in the NHL, it's like when he makes that one mistake, it doesn't faze him. That's what I like, is his mental toughness. When he does one mistake, just wipe it off, throw it in the trash, go right back at it. I like it.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar. Like I saw with Spencer Knight in the World Juniors for USA, like that game versus Russia, really bad game. And they were saying that he has they said he has the mind like a bartender, like he just doesn't remember like the past like 10 seconds. It's out of his head. It was such a weird analogy, but I'm like, whatever.
It is really
like,
a weird analogy.
It is. I wouldn't understand it, but like, I think for the most part, like he just didn't phase him, and he made the next save. I thought he actually had a good game, to be honest. He had that one save late, and it was a great save. They had to pass over, and I don't know if it was blocked or whatnot. But I know the one thing they did announce before the game was Ghost with the COVID protocol.
Yeah.
Same with Kapanen for Pittsburgh. It could be a positive. It could be. It doesn't mean he has COVID. It could be a quarantine situation. It could be, he was in contact with somebody else who was in contact, whatever. Everybody knows how that kind of story goes. But I think for the most part, like, it sucks because I think they'd be using Ghost right now, and I honestly think he'd be playing first pair of Provorov. I don't think it will be Braun. So it makes me think where they'll kind of put him in the lineup. Like, I'd like to see him on the power play, but like, now they're screwed because like Ghost is probably sitting like so pissed, and I know I'm just like joking around, but like the second power play unit gets 2 goals, like they're not going to break that up right away.
They're not going to,
and they could with the first unit because I know he did take first power play unit reps in practice or training camp, whatever it still was, but it makes me think how they'll use Ghost if he's put back in the lineup. But as I said, I think going for tomorrow's game, I think they kind of just have to really the same stuff, get pucks deep. I think they did a great job at just getting shots on net. At times, they were a little too cute. That is one thing I wanted to bring up too, like late in that second period, way too cute. Yeah. And that's why they only had 2-3 shots for majority of that period until the last 5 minutes. So,
yeah, I remember some of the cuteness that they were trying to do. Like it was the Patrick JVR Voracek line. Patrick was welcoming and going up the middle. Then he tried to do a backwards pass. No one was really there. It led to They just gotta like. There's also like some things that like still bother. Like when you have Konechny on the 2-on-1s. Especially in that beginning of the second period with Oscar Lindblom, I would honestly prefer him shoot the puck right there. Like I can understand wanting to give Lindblom the puck, but like in that situation, it just went right by Lindblom. He wasn't able to caress it or anything like that. I would just like TK to just take a shot right there.
Yeah.
Like there were some situations throughout the game where Konechny was getting frustrated, but he did manage to get that assist on the Lindblom's goal. So I guess maybe that's something that'll help him out a little bit right there. But like what you said, Chris, it's just like some of the little things they need to fix for Friday's game. The cuteness, they gotta get out of that habit of trying to be way too cute and just like fix up a little bit of the sloppiness 5-on-5.
Yeah, I think they did a great job cycling the puck. They had no problem with that. There wasn't really any bad pinches, no plays like that. If they were caught, the guys got back. I thought Myers did a great job. But he had a couple of those plays where he got back with a long reach he has, used his body. And I feel like Sanheim did too. I don't really think anybody played bad, to be honest. I think it was all everybody had a solid effort. And again, they scored 6 goals. I mean, we kind of sound like the way we're talking sounds like they lost. But, I think for the most part, they kind of just, same thing, really. It doesn't need to be, not much has to change. I honestly don't really think it was like a big blowout by the Pittsburgh, though. Like, I feel like the game, like, if you look at the shots, like, obviously it was different. The shots were 34-25 at the end of the game, but like it didn't seem like that. It didn't seem like it was more like a Pens, domination. And the second period was as we said, it was the worst period the Flyers played, and that really was all Pittsburgh. But like I feel like it didn't seem like it was really like a domination. It felt, and like you kind of knew the Flyers were still in the game.
Yeah, you knew the Flyers were still in the game. It's just like once Pittsburgh tied it, it was like one of those situations. Like remember in the beginning of the game where the Flyers were more pushing the pace, but then the Penguins scored the first goal.
Yeah.
And then that second period, the Penguins were basically dominating. They tied the game in the beginning, but somehow Farabee comes in, makes this Kevin Hayes like makes this nice turnover, gives it to Farabee, who's just on the red line, just makes a fantastic play to put it in the net. It's just like, okay, Penguins were dominated this entire period, but the Flyers still managed to come out with the lead. So like that's one thing that's a positive right there. You find ways to score even when you're getting dominated.
Right, and that's the thing, and that's what I mean. Like, when they had their chances, they pounced on them and they scored. So, again, I think that goal definitely gave them momentum too, because I feel like they draw the penalty early, and then obviously the tying goal, which is still. I want to get your thoughts on this too. Like, I kind of thought Hart was off on that a little bit. Like his angle, the third goal, it looked like he was deep a little bit, and maybe over a little too more to the right, and that's why all that top corner was wide open.
Yeah, I think he was just a little bit off of his angle. Like you can also I also just give credit to Tate because that's a perfectly great. That was a perfectly placed shot, but I think Carter Hart was just like a teeny tiny bit off of his angle to where it allowed that open space for him to shoot it at. But just it's the first game, we're not going to trash anyone. it's the first game. So we got some other comments right here in the comment section. Kevin saying get Hunter Brody for tomorrow's live stream. That might be a little bit difficult right there. Hunter likes to do his own thing, but that'd be funny watching a game with him though. And people definitely join the live streams here on TPL during the games, during the Sixers games, during the Flyers games. They're a fun time. We did it yesterday. It was a great time. So definitely do check those out. Then Sean asks another question saying, did you guys think the ice seemed a little bit chippy? Pucks seemed to be bouncing a lot. Yeah, it's the first game on the ice right there. Even though they did have the scrimmage, still got to get used to the ice. The freshly coated ice right there. So it's definitely going to take some time to get, I guess, a little bit used to, get a little bit freshened up for the season. Yeah,
and it makes me think and I don't know this, but do fans in there have anything to do with that? The ice being, because obviously we know the boards can be more live if there's nobody behind there, or if that's where the Zamboni comes out or whatever. I don't know if it does. That might sound so stupid to some people listening right now. So I'm not 100% sure, but it could be. I don't know. But I agree. It seemed like a little bit that, it seemed like that most of I feel like the puck was rolling a lot. I felt like
it was. It definitely was. And we have some other comments right here. Another one from Sean saying, Carter Hart handles the puck like it's a hand grenade. Less is more. I definitely agree. Just do the simple things. And then we got one here from Zach saying Hart gives him Spencer Knight flashbacks from the World Juniors this past year. So which version of Spencer Knight? The one in the first game against Russia, or the one the rest of the tournament where he was lights out?
Yeah.
I prefer the one that's lights out during the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I did think too, and again, it makes me kind of think I wouldn't be surprised if Hart got a shutout tomorrow. I'm not even and I don't want to jinx anything and say I'll say that, I'll say that, and it'll be 4-0 at the end of the first period. But I have that feeling that Hart's going to come out and just have that mean face on and just not care about anything right now besides the game. And it's funny too because I was thinking about this. Pierre was talking throughout the game last night, and he was saying that Philadelphia, you guys are a really good team and things like that. Shut up. We know we're a good team. It's everybody else that wants to say, that Boston's going to win the division and that the Islanders are going to finish in top 2 and that Washington can still win. I'm dude, if I look at these lineups for some of these other teams, I'm looking at Boston. I was looking at Boston's lineup on paper. Their first D pairing was McAvoy and Lazon. I'm how and just going through it, I think it was Grizzlick, and then they had Brandon Carlo. I was dude, I just don't see the Bruins being a top team like that this year. I still see them making the playoffs. I still see them being in second because they're the Bruins, and when you have a top line, you know what I mean. But I honestly think the Flyers could blow this division out of the water with some of these teams. I'm serious. And I know it's the first game, and I don't want to make it it's, you know what I mean? Obviously, the bias is showing, but
that's perfectly fine.
That, the Flyers are that deep. I don't think there's another team that's that deep in this division. I really don't. And in every position the Flyers are, including the goaltending, because they're you could argue Washington, right? With their offense, their defense, but their goaltending isn't it. They have Samsonov. Okay, he's not as good as Hart. And who is their backup? Craig Anderson. You know what I mean? it's he did sign a contract the other day, but overall I feel like I think the Flyers are a really good test to kind of see that they can be that they can be Stanley Cup contenders this year, and I think that they'll be able to show that. And it just makes me think like Pierre would never say that about another team. You know what I mean? Like he would never, like if it was Colorado, right? He would have never said that. So it's just like weird. It kind of seems like there's like that narrative, like just because it's Philly, you know what I mean? Because like we see that a lot with the Sixers. You see it with the Eagles all the time.
Yeah, it's like the one thing, like over the past like so many years, ever since like Ivan Provorov was drafted, like every time you would hear Pierre talk about the Flyers, like, oh, you better watch out for the Flyers because what Ron Hextall is doing right now, they're going to be a monster of a team. It's one of those situations, and we were talking. Me and Dives were talking about this on the Flyers live stream yesterday during the game. It's just like this Flyers team is not just like built for like now, like next year. The Flyers are like they have so much depth. And they have a plethora in the prospect pool to where this team could be built for like so many years to come. Like you still have Cam York in the making. You still have Bobby Brink in the making. Tyson Forrester, Zayd Wisdom. You still have all these kids that are Isaac Ratcliffe, Morgan Frost.
Taylor
Allison. You have so many young pieces that could be added in so many like parts of the near future to where this team can be competitive for so long. And you have so many young guys on this team still right now. Farabee, Patrick, Lindblom, Konechny, Provorov, Sanheim, Myers, Carter Hart. This team is going to be good for a while.
It's funny. A lot of the guys you just mentioned can still, and like we're literally pushing to make the team this year.
Yes,
like Dinsky, Allison, Frost, Rubtsov, Kasha, and Hogberg. They're all going to be on Lehigh Valley. They came back from their loans today. That was announced. So all three of those guys are going to be down there. Wisdom and Forster get some AHL time too. So because of everything with the WHL and the CHL going on, that they can have them play down in Lehigh Valley, get some minutes down there, which I think that's honestly a really good benefit to see them down there. Like nobody expected Tyson Forster to be on the Phantoms year one, but because of everything going on, he's on the Phantoms, and I think that's sick.
Yeah. And in a normal world, I don't even think Forster would have been allowed to play in the AHL because isn't the age limit like you have to be 20 years old to play down in the AHL? So just like with this special precaution because of COVID and everything, with the juniors just like not knowing when their seasons are going to start yet, give them some time down there, and hey, maybe that gives them that little extra motivation. Okay, I got a little taste of the pro game. Let me adapt my game a little bit. Let me work on my craft. So that's something nice right there. So Flyers got that great win yesterday. We're looking forward to tomorrow. But let's get into some talk about other games that happened around the AHL. Some games that are going on today, some games that happened yesterday. Tampa Bay, they completely smoked the Chicago Blackhawks yesterday in their Stanley Cup's banner raising. So basically that was no competition right there. I remember you were talking to me about that yesterday, Chris. That Tampa Bay game, that was just a feasting right there by them.
Yeah. And I was watching it and I'm like, dude, like this is like Chicago's going to be one of the worst teams in the league. They might be the worst team in the league. I mean, they also have all the injuries too. Like it doesn't help. They have Taze is out, Doc is out, Seabrook, Zach Smith is out. That's 3 centers right there. I'm trying to think if there's any other guys. And it's funny. Guess who's on their taxi squad?
Who was on their taxi squad?
Wyatt Kalnick.
Oh,
remember when he signed in Chicago and thought he could make the roster out of camp? He's on their taxi squad.
I remember that.
That gives me such a good feeling that he's not actually turning into something when he could have signed here. Wow, Islanders are up 4-0 right now over the Rangers. That's actually not that surprising. A little bit, not too much. Boston's still up 1-0 right now. Washington is up 5-3. I was watching some of that before we started this. Hurricanes are up 1-0 over the Red Wings. Flames are up 3-2 over Winnipeg. You have Columbus beating Nashville right now. 1-0 there in the second period. And then the Sharks.
Yeah, speaking of Columbus, the Pierre-Luc Dubois situation.
Oh,
he
was
out of Columbus.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, why does nobody want to stay in Columbus? Like,
because
Dubois, like, it's a good hockey market.
I guess they just don't want to pay people. That's the problem.
It seems like it's a good hockey market. Like, not great, not like bigger than others, but I mean, it seems like every time I watch a Blue Jackets game, like there's fans there. It's not a sellout all the time, but like we saw in the playoffs years ago when they had Duchesne and Dzingel and still had Panarin when they swept Tampa Bay in the first round, like they'd sell outs every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird.
I don't know if it has to do with management or something like that. I think it just has to deal with like them
Could
just
be
being
Tortorella.
maybe. Yeah, even Tortorella confirmed that Dubois he wants out. Like there was like really like no confirmation anywhere. Torch just literally outright said it. He wants out. And they're gonna play him until they find a suitor for him. It's just like weird because like with the whole Bobrovsky-Panarin situation, you like the entire season you were just like hearing Bobrovsky's gonna leave. He's gonna go sign with somewhere in Florida, and that's eventually what happened. Panarin's gonna leave. He's gonna sign with a big market team. Look what he did. He signed with the New York Rangers in the offseason. So it's a weirst situation. I can't imagine like where he could get traded to. I know teams like Winnipeg and Montreal are teams that are looking to go after him. So that's definitely gonna be something interesting to look into this season.
Yeah. It's funny. A lot of people bring up the Flyers, and I know you texted it to me today, and then I said Hagen third, which I thought was hilarious because that's always the meme when there's a trade rumor. It's just like Hagen a third, and somebody made like the Fox, or right, is that Fox? I forget what it is.
20th Century Fox.
Yeah, the 20th Century Fox meme, and it says like Hagen a third, and then there's one of like if you see the picture that's behind us right now, to the people watching this, and you Amedeo too, the scoreboard, like the big scoreboard says Hagen a third, like. It's just like so weird. But you know, it seems like if the Flyers were to get Dubois, that would make no sense. No sense. I just mentioned that they have like 6 centers on this team. Why would they want to get another one?
Like I said, trade a 7th round pick for Dubois.
I saw somebody on Twitter say Couturier for Dubois.
No.
I was like, oh my God. Oh sure, yeah. Let's just trade our number 1 center, our Selke winner, for a young center. Like, that's
Chris. Sean wants to know the plus minus on Nate Thompson right now. If you could find that,
I don't even know if he's on the roster. I know he's on the roster. I don't know if he's on their opening night roster. We'll check that out for you, Sean, if I can actually get that.
And just like talking about some other games too that happened last night, Toronto and Montreal. Toronto winning in overtime. Josh Anderson, Montreal scoring the 2 goals. So he basically beat his totals from last season when he only scored 1. So Josh Anderson, honestly, right now, looking into a nice pickup for them. And like what you said, Chris, you did really like that trade for Montreal, getting Josh Anderson.
Yeah, I thought that was a good fit for them. Last night they looked good. Last night the Habs, excuse me. That was a good game. Did you see Simmons fight?
I did see Simmons' fight.
That was awesome. Simmons absolutely destroyed Sherratt, and I love that Simmons didn't continue to beat the shit out of him after he was down, which is such respect. Like, that's amazing. And then he gave him like the thumbs up in the penalty box. That was cool too.
Yeah, that's great. It's just like seeing it's like so weird seeing Wayne Simmons. That's nothing else in a Flyers uniform. Seeing him in that Toronto blue, it's just like, oh my God, that's weird. Like even seeing him for the other teams, like when he played for the Devils, when he was on Nashville, it's just like, and when he was on Buffalo, it's just like weird. It's like I only see Simmons in orange and black, but I can understand why he's not here anymore.
Yeah,
but I'm just like,
Toronto was a fit for Simmons.
Toronto was definitely a fit for him.
I like watching Toronto, to be honest. Now, like, I really like a lot of the additions they had. Obviously Thornton, right? They added Brody. They still have Muzzin, Riley, right? And I think for the most, like, they're a good team. They obviously added Bogosian too. And VC scored last night. I thought they played a good game, to be honest. And it's weird. Like, dude, did you see one of that Nylander goal? Oh my God, Price was down and out for the count on that one. That was he had all day to pick that corner. He had all day.
Man, it's like so much. Then you also got the Edmonton Vancouver game. Just like looking at Edmonton's game, they're so bad defensively.
Oh God,
I remember seeing one of the goals. I'm not sure if it was the Horvat goal, but it was just like there was a situation where there was like 3 Oilers in the corner, and there was just one guy left wide open for a breakaway. I'm just like, guys, the puck is over there. Why are you all over there in the corner?
Yeah, Sean. It looks like for Thompson. It looks like he's on their 3rd line, maybe 4th line. He's got 433 of ice time, and he has 1 shot on goal so far. And they are down, as I said, they're down 3-2. I believe it might be second intermission or the second period. But it looks like Thompson. I'm surprised he doesn't have a hat trick already. That's hilarious. No, I'm just messing around. I believe he is on their 4th line tonight, but I'm not sure because I know the Jets have kind of had to switch with their offense a little bit.
Is his plus minus currently anything, or is it just 0?
He's got 0 right now.
Okay, so Sean, he just said efficient night for Nate. And then we also got another comment right here from Bobby Stevens saying, "Thank you, YouTube, for recommending me an actual channel. Good channel. Sub." Thank you right there, Bobby. Definitely subscribe to everything here on the Painted Lines. We have a lot of stuff that just happens, live streams, podcasts, just videos in general. Also subscribe to Flyers Fan Mania 93 for Chris, and also me at TTB Sports. That always appreciate the support right there for literally everything.
Yeah.
Then we also got another comment right here from Basilio saying, "Hey, I live in Boston. You know nothing about the overratedness of the Bruins."
Okay.
Wait, you wait, do you actually think the Bruins are overrated? I want to know. I actually want to know that from a Boston fan.
I would absolutely love to hear that right now, because I just can't wait for the outdoor game.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be awesome.
that outdoor game is actually going to be nice. We were talking about that yesterday on the live stream too. Like that's going to be a fun day. That's just going to be an absolute fun. And it's like weird. Like I remember seeing one like a Pierre-Edouard Bellemare from Colorado, like in a press conference. Like I think it was Burakovsky tricking him, saying that the game was actually going to be played on the lake. and he sounded so sad when it wasn't true.
Yeah, and it sounded. Ryan Whitney tweeted it, and he was like, "It's okay, Pierre. It happens to the best of us." Like, it was just awesome.
He was just like, "Wait, it's not on the lake? No,
it's not on the lake." He's like, "Oh man."
He was so excited for it. I felt bad. In other games, St. Louis, Colorado. St. Louis giving it to Colorado right there, 4-1. That was a nice game right there.
Talk about bad defense. Oh my god. It looked like there was 6 pylons out there, including the goalie. Like, if you go and you watch St. Louis's 4th goal, every defenseman and forward is just like looking at him like a deer in the headlights, looking at, I believe it was Thomas went in the corner. I'm like, what are you doing? And then Lundqvist is like wide open. Grubauer is like not even set for the shot. He's like turned around. And I'm like, what? What is happening here? Like, this is abysmal.
Yeah, it was St. Louis played fantastic. Bennington looked good. The one thing that I'm just like, I know a lot of people like think Colorado, like I can see Colorado being like one of those teams that can compete for a Stanley Cup. The one thing I just don't see that they're just there yet. Grubauer is a good goaltender. I don't think he's the goaltender that can take him to the next level yet.
I don't think he is either.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the Avs are scary.
They are scary.
When McKinnon touches the puck, it's like me. Like when I watch it, I'm like, oh, here we go. Because this is just like, it's like must-see TV when that guy touches it. Same with McDavid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is, though. It seems like, do you think it's their depth? Like, I don't know. Like, is their depth there yet?
I'm not entirely sure. I know that I just like when I look at it, like comparing to a team like the Flyers right now. I know that's biased right here, but this is the Flyer podcast for everyone that's watching. It's just like with the Flyers' depth right now, it has like a great mix of youth and also veteran talent, like guys like Voracek, JVR. Then you also have Hayes, Giroux. There's like so much depth throughout the lineup. Lawton, Raffle, Couturier, Konechny, Lindblom. It's just like with the Avalanche, they do have depth, but is it like the depth where you can get that quality goal scoring like throughout an entire season? Like, can you roll out those 4 lines that they can go out there, they can score? Can you rely on your 4th line to be that muck and grinder, but also chipping a goal in here or there? Mm-hmm. Like the Avalanche are a very young team. They are a very exciting team. Like I said, they are a very scary team. They can compete for a Stanley Cup. I just think right now it's like they're either too young, but I also do think they need a better goaltender than Grubauer to take them over to the next level.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of it is. See, I can't like get my like finger on it, but it seems like they're like that, maybe that one piece away, but I can't say that because everybody will just call me an idiot because they have McKinnon. So like, you know, I feel like overall it might be their bottom 6. Like, because I know they're like their power play is good. Like their defense looks good. I agree with the goaltending. I don't know if it's there. Like, I mean, they kind of are in a weak division, to be honest. It's like them, Vegas, St. Louis, and maybe Minnesota can push for the 4 in that division. And
you just got Arizona and the 3 California teams basically being bottom feeders.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota gets into that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people that look at that young rookie they have, Kaprizov, that could people saying he could win the Calder. So he looks very good too. So I think, it's a weird situation with Minnesota because I feel like there's always that, like, they've always been a team that can get to the playoffs, but they can never go far. They always lose in the first round because I think that they've always like gotten stuck behind, like right in front of the same teams. And it's been Chicago when they were in their dynasty years, and the Blues when they were, a good team, but not a team to like win the cup like they did. Like they were looked at as like a really solid team, second, third round of the playoffs, but never could really get to the final.
Yeah, Minnesota, like just over the I've never seen Minnesota like just go through like a full-fledged rebuild or anything like that. It was like always they would bring in like these like free agents right here when they brought in Parise, they just signed Parise to this outrageous contract. And just like when they brought in Devin Dubnyk too, like they were always like a team that was just there. They were in the mix, but they were just never like like they were always just a bubble playoff team at those points.
That contract was signed by yours truly.
Yeah, Chuck Fletcher. Hopefully.
Fletcher.
Thank God that the NHL stopped allowing those lengths of contracts.
He did that with Suter too.
Yeah, he did. and they're still paying the price for it because they're still on the team. Yeah. Even though Suter's a great defenseman, but Parise just like he's getting up there in age. Mm-hmm. And the injuries. And also Ed put a comment right here saying, remember Washington could never make it past the second round. Yes, they could never make it past the second round, but they eventually did when they won the cup.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like that just shows how hard it is to win the cup. Like you talk about it before, like the Penguins, when they won their back-to-backs, like they were so good for so long, from like 9 to like 15. Really good team, got far in the playoffs most years, but they never like really had it after 09. And then they get there in 16. Unbelievable. 17, rough start, win it again.
Yep.
And the Caps, it's like they're down 2-0 first round. And then they won 4 straight after that.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 2 games they lost were at home. They lost the first 2 home games. I believe both were in overtime, I think.
I think so. I remember the first Panarin overtime. I don't remember the second game, though. That's like one that slipped my mind.
I think it was Atkinson or Boone Jenner, somebody like that. But yeah, I mean, once they beat Pittsburgh, you knew they were winning. Because Tampa was never really a problem for them. Like if they were to play Tampa, like they could handle them, but like they were kind of slipping away at the end, like they were losing a little bit. But like that game 7 they played in 18, that might have been the best game they might have played all playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Up until that point. They were phenomenal. And Holtby at that time was like nothing was getting by.
He was on another level. Remember that save he made a game 2 in the finals? Oof.
Oh my God.
That was the save.
Yeah, literally. And I love that overhead picture where the stick is like kind of bent out like this a little bit. And then it's same with the Blues. Like as I said, like a team that's always been good. They kind of they bumped in the Kings a couple times. Chicago. They bumped into San Jose at one point too. Mm-hmm. And I think Nashville too. Like they kind of always kind of get stuck behind the teams, and that was with the year Nashville. I believe it was the year Nashville made their run. Same with San Jose when they made their run to the Cup final.
Yep.
And then they get there like one of the worst teams. Like it just shows like how hard it is to win. And same with this past year with Tampa. I mean, from 15 on, everybody looks at them as a top team in the league. Like 15 made the Cup final. They get their conference finals 2 years in 17, 18. And they are in 2017 and 2018, not 17-18 season. And then they ended up winning the Cup this year. So it's crazy. And, I know AV talked about it before too. Like it shows you have to lose sometimes before you can win. And we've seen that in recent years with teams who have won the Cup, especially in the past decade. So, I hope that doesn't it makes me think like if that were to happen to the Flyers, like, is their time running out, you think, if it does? Because think about it. Like, okay, obviously the gripe is, G's getting older, Jake's getting older, whatever. And obviously we don't believe that, right? So if we're talking how long it took some of these teams to win, obviously it's different situations, but just in perspective, it's like, do you think it'll take the Flyers that long, or do you think it'll be either this year or maybe even next year?
It's like Dives brought up this like one good point yesterday during the live stream. Like he compared this like Flyers team right now and like the way they're growing to the Phillies when they went on their runs from 2007 to 2011 when they won the NL East like 4 or 5 straight years in a row. So he said the first year the Phillies made the postseason for the first time in a long time. They lost in the playoffs. They came back next year. They were a young team. They were hungry to make the playoffs. They win the NL East again, and they go on to win the World Series. And he's comparing it to the Flyers team right now. Maybe last year that was the taste these young guys needed in the playoffs. Guys like Konechny once again, maybe he has that chip on his shoulder from struggling there. Provorov has that taste. Farabee has that taste. A lot of these other guys have that taste for the playoff hockey. Hart has it. Maybe this year, who knows? I'm not saying anything. I'm going to, I don't have a piece of, I'm just going to knock on something right here. Just say maybe it could be the year. Maybe the Flyers could pull off what the Phillies did. 1 year when they first make the playoffs, they learn. The next year they come back and they win a championship. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying the Flyers are built for a very long run, not really a short run, and this team's going to be good for a while. Yeah, so
I agree. I think they're easily a top 5 team of the next 5 years, 6 years.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, it's just it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. Like this is like the first time in a while like we can actually say the Flyers are like actually contenders for something, which is like the entire like 2010s. It's just been mediocre.
I've never been this confident about a Flyers team.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, I was confident, but I had my doubts at times, especially the first 2 months, because we know how the preseason they sucked just really bad. Like they just could not win a game. And same with the first month. I mean, they were 500 and like they went 5-5-1, and then like they blew the door out in November.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the best teams had like 23, 22 points in that month. And again, like, you know, as I said, like from when I started watching this team, obviously, you know, lockout season, they were terrible. And I never saw a team like last year where like they were that good and the coach was behind them. It felt like the city was actually behind them for once.
Yeah.
And now it feels like that again, but like it's hard to explain because like I have a really good feeling for this team this year. I do. But I don't know if like I think the only way we'll know is if they get there, you know, like like during the round robin, it literally. I honestly thought that they would win, like with the way that they were playing. Just like things were just falling for them at that time, and then they get there, and I'm like, that first game versus Montreal didn't look promising. It really didn't. And I'm like, dude, they're not going to win this year. I just had to feel, and it's not like against their play or whatever. It might have just been me like overthinking whatever, but like. It just didn't seem like it was the year. And you know, as AV said before, and obviously it's been talked about in sports too, like you have to lose before you can win. So it might happen. I don't know. But obviously we're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, there's 55 games left. We're going to have to see how the season plays out. But I think I don't think there's any reason for anybody to doubt the Flyers at all this year, to be honest.
I completely 100% agree with you. Like when I was growing up, I was born in 98. I was too young to remember the team that lost to Tampa Bay in the conference finals. I was too young to remember the Flyers team that lost, not reverse swept, but they lost a 3-1 series lead to the New Jersey Devils when Lindros got his head knocked out by Scott Stevens right there. I was way too young to remember that. Like the teams that I basically remember were Flyers teams, like even like after the lockout in 2004, 2005 was just like teams that were like they were like on the urge of like making the playoffs, but they like just couldn't break out of that first round. Then you had the 07-08 team that made it to the conference finals but lost to the Penguins, and then they lost to the Penguins again the year after. And then it just felt like they were just bubble team year after that. But like the 09-10 season, they were a bubble team, but they made the finals because they got hot at the right time. But that team was fun to watch.
They were, and it's so weird how they made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. A shootout,
so good.
Yeah,
and then they just went on this epic collapse. And almost missed, and that's why they went to the shootout, because they were so good and then struggled, had injuries. Emery got hurt, as we remember, obviously. God, Leighton. And it makes me think about the 2010 team too. Like
that was such a fun playoff run.
It was. If that goal didn't go in, like what if if that's a cover and the offensive zone draw, like what do you think happened? You think they go to Game 7?
There's a chance, because the Flyers, they were dominant that year on home ice in Game 7 and dominant on home ice during the playoffs in general. I could definitely see that happening. It's just like then looking years after that, the year after they lost in the finals, they were one of the best teams in the league, but they looked terrible in the playoffs because they just couldn't play defense. The year after, Brizgalov, I don't even want to mention that guy's name, but then you got since that year in 2012, it's been bubble team, missed playoffs, makes playoffs, missed playoffs, make playoffs, basically stuck in mediocrity at that point. Yeah. It's just like this is like the first time in a while that we can say the Flyers are like actually good and they're like a legitimate contender for something, and they're going to be a legitimate contender for so long. That's why this is special to us. That's why this is special for the city of Philadelphia. And I'm sure the people that are in this chat right now can definitely agree with me. It's just,
I think this is just as big as the Eagles Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like this is the second best thing that could happen to the city is the Flyers win a cup.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Flyers, like back in the day, they used to run the city.
Yeah, they were the reason why sports was so big here.
Yeah.
And they've revamped the sports world here. I mean, the Eagles sucked. The Phillies sucked.
The Sixers were a better team, but they won their championships. But then just like over the years, they're like one of the notoriously worst basketball teams. Like sometimes,
especially like around the time the Flyers came in the league too. Like, and it took a couple years, but it's still incredible how they won those two cups in the first 7-8 years of the team's existence.
Yep.
And they've been around 53 years. They've made the right 53 years, 54 years, made the playoffs 40 times, and they won the cup twice.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't add up, obviously.
Because every time they made the cup final, when they went to the cup final in 76, they lost to dynasties. They lost to Montreal dynasty, they lost to the Islanders dynasty in 80, 85, they lost to the Oilers dynasty, 87 Oilers dynasty. And then when they went back in 97, the Detroit dynasty. It's just the Flyers ran into a lot of bad luck right there. It's just, and I see Sean's comment right here saying, I missed the Dale Weiss era. Shut up, Sean.
The Chicago too.
Yeah, the Chicago dynasty. It's good. It feels good though, and I mean, well, right now it feels good.
I was like, that doesn't feel good at all. I don't know.
It didn't feel good when I was in the Wells Fargo Center at that point.
No, the Wachovia Center.
Same difference. It's been the Wells Fargo Center for so long that I just call it the Wells Fargo Center. It's just like, oh god.
Do you honestly remember the Hartnell goal to tie it?
Yes, I do.
Do you really?
I remember that game vividly. It's just like that. Like I know I'm being over exaggerating when I say I have nightmares from that. I can remember that King goal like vividly, because just like that was like one of the moments where I was just like, I was pissed off. Like the rest, I was pissed off. I was upset. Like I felt like so many emotions that night.
I can never like I if I put myself now in that position, dude, I cried when they beat Montreal. You imagine me in the cup final? I think I have heart palpitations. I might have a heart attack.
You probably would have had a heart attack, man.
I think I would have by now. I would have been sitting there like I would have been losing my hair. I would have gray hair by like game 2. Like it would have been nuts.
It was like when that goal happened, I just like had it was like a combined with the 1,000-yard stare for like a couple minutes, and I just put my head down on my lap. I was just like this isn't happening.
How old were you? 12?
I was in 6th grade.
12.
Yeah, I was 12. Yeah, wow. It's like thinking back. That's what, like 10 years at this point. Jesus Christ, that's been a long time.
Yeah, 10, 11 years. Yeah, it's insane. And I always love looking at the video of somebody got the Hartnell goal live and just hearing that place erupt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like the amount of money I'd pay to go back in time and go to that game just to see a different ending.
Just like rig the ending the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little trip down memory lane right there. But I think that is going to do it for this episode of the Flyer Up Podcast. A lot of great things. Hockey season has started once again. The Flyers started off with a victory. They're 1-0 after their 6-3 win against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They will play the Pittsburgh Penguins again tomorrow. It's at 7 o'clock, right? 7 or 7:30 for tomorrow, Chris?
Tomorrow 7. Monday is 7:30.
Okay, so we got 7 o'clock tomorrow against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Definitely stick tuned with us here at the Painted Lines. We are most likely going to be live streaming tomorrow's game, so I would definitely recommend everyone that is in this chat right now to join us And for people that join the live stream late or people that just missed the live stream entirely, our podcast is always going to be on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast at. Don't forget to follow the Painted Lions on everything possible, social media, YouTube, everything. Don't forget to follow Chris's channel, Flyers Fan Mania 93. Don't forget to follow my YouTube channel, TTP Sports. Don't forget to follow us on our Twitter pages as well, or Instagram, wherever you find us at. So thank you for listening to this episode of the Flyered Up Podcast. Don't forget to check out our merchandise website as well. There's some nice merch out there for you to get flyered up. So for this episode of the Flyered Up Podcast, I'm your host, Amedeo Grassia. He is Chris Maher, and we will see you next time. Go Flyers, everyone.